What's up, y'all? It is Joy. If you are first joining me or your first time finding this channel, my name is Joy of the Joy Element, and here at this channel we reset our inner lives emotionally, mentally, spiritually, which is what we're going to talk about today, as well as sexually. So this is all about my spiritual practice. So what is a spiritual practice? For me, a spiritual practice is something that you set out to do every day that goes deeper than the physical. It's more on the metaphysical side. That could be anywhere from diving into another religion, from understanding another lifestyle or another way of living, as well as a way of thinking. And it can even extend to what we put into our bodies, what we choose to eat, what we choose to take in through our ears, through our sight. However way we decide to walk out this thing, I believe is a spiritual practice, as long as it goes deeper and does not remain on the surface. Now, a little background into me. I grew up Christian, mainly Southern Baptist Christian. I was raised in a Baptist church, and around college I went to a non-denominational church, but it all was Christian. And somewhere down the line, around 2015, mainly in 2016, things for me began to really shift and to really change. And what I grew up with no longer felt like me. It no longer felt close to who I was and close to who I want to be. I took up a lot of issues with Christianity and the way in which we are taught it in the Western world. The way that it is brought to us is it's not canon. It's not really helpful in a lot of ways. It's more so rote memorization and follow. And as well as being very antagonistic to anyone that's different. And I, even growing up as a kid, being leg deep, hip deep into Christianity, something always felt off. Something never felt fully loving and supportive the way I always thought it would. So around late 2017 going into 2018 is when I changed my spiritual practice. Now, a lot of people go through their ups and downs when it comes to Christianity or any religion, because religion in and of itself is this box. It's really something that someone came up with and is telling you this is the way that you are to act out or to live out this particular religion, and anything outside of that is against it. And that is very confining. It's very difficult to try to live up to. And many of us have gone through our dark nights of the soul, or we're about to go through our dark nights of the soul, where we call everything into question. I am 33 years old, so I recently got out of the tail end of my Saturn return, and my Saturn return started around 28 and a half going into 29. So it was definitely a time where everything that I thought I believed in, everything that I thought was a solid foundation in my life, came up for review, came up for, do you really believe in this anymore? So to have a better understanding of what the Saturn return is, there are a lot of videos that talks about your Saturn return, and I will link those down in the description. Those are my favorites, and those have been the most helpful to me on my journey when it came to understanding myself within my Saturn return. So what does my spiritual practice look like now? It is I would say it's different, but it also leans into things that I held on to as a kid. I now think a lot more people than I used to. I now speak to a lot more people than I used to. And I say people because to me they are a family, they're a unit. They are my collective tribe that help me and assist me in what I need to be paying attention to, as well as what I need to be aware of day in and day out. Around 2017, I picked up my first tarot deck, and I've been reading tarot on and off, not as consistently as I need to, for the last 3.5 years. But tarot has been something I have been interested in my whole life. I was someone who grew up reading my horoscope, not really understanding too much, but just feeling a pull, feeling a celestial nudge in that direction. And I couldn't understand what it meant because I grew up Christian, and any of those things are the devil, is evil, because it's outside of the norm that we are taught in Western Christianity. But now, with a better understanding of what that meant for me, what that calling was for me, I feel more at home in this space than I did in my Christian space, because I'm no longer in a box. I'm no longer in a space where I have to fold into this. If I have one leg out or one pinky out, then there's no good for me here. There's no help for me here. Another thing that really helped me in my spiritual walk as well as my practice is to fold myself back into these spaces. It is really difficult to hear that you are a lowly this, that you are nothing but this, that you are so small. And even when you listen to a lot of Christian music, gospel music, it tends to lean more into how I ain't this and this entity is this and I'm nothing. And for me, that really caused a lot of harm. Not in an egotistical sense, not in a way that, oh, well, I think I gotta be a part of this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But more so, if you're someone who's looking for something and you're constantly being told that you are this big, that you are worth less than this, then how can you really find yourself there? How can you really feel home in that space that is constantly telling you that you are nothing without this? So I'm grateful to be a part of a really beautiful community called the Unfit Christian Congregation on Facebook. And its leader, Pastor Danielle Thomas, has been integral in showing me how, not just me, but those of us in the group, how we can really unfold this thing that we call religion, as well as relationship, as well as who we are as individuals walking on this earth. So for me, that really began with me finding out what my ancestral lineage is and what my ancestral history is. So majority of the people in my family, we all grew up Christian. We basically went to the same church, or we went to some delineation of that church. And so with that understanding, I know that a strong line in my family is based in Christian identity. So for a while, I was worried about what my people would think, because I have since left that space. But as I've done more work, I've begun to realize that a lot of my people did very similar things of what I did. They decided to pave their own way. And in doing so, they learned about hoodoo. They learned about root work. They learned about other religions. And they did it in a way that kept them safe, but also kept their work safe. So no one would come in and make them feel any sort of way because they're doing something outside of what is expected of them. So every morning when I leave my bedroom, I go to my altar, or I go speak to my altar with my ancestors there. That has become a huge part of my routine, because now I know where to go, who to speak to, because they are right there in my face. I'm not wondering who they are like how I was 2.5 years ago. Now I have faces for their names. Now I have pictures. I have trinkets. I have things that they cared about, favorite colors, juice, water, all those things there. I will also link down one of my favorite videos that I watch in how to build and venerate your ancestor altar. As far as my routine goes, when I wake up in the morning, I go down the list of people and entities that I choose to thank. My ancestors are one of them. God is another. I do not look at God the same way that I used to. I don't call God he. I choose not to use pronouns with God, because it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel like that's who God is. I also give thanks to my spiritual team, my angels, my Orisha, and I say thank you. I ask for forgiveness. I ask for support. And as I move forward throughout the day, when I see them do something, when I hear that voice in my ear telling me not to go this way, or to go buy this thing, to go give this thing, to go That's how I know that I am more connected than I used to be. Because it used to be a fight. It used to be this visceral feeling of I'm doing the wrong thing. And now I don't feel that way. So how do you begin building your own spiritual practice? Whether you are leaving your religion like how I did, or you are just expanding in your religion, the best way to start that spiritual practice is to begin to slowly, because it can be overwhelming, slowly unpack the things about the religion that you don't like or just don't seem to fit where you are anymore. This isn't an exercise of ego. This isn't where you tell yourself that you matter more because of this thing. This is an exercise of figuring out what you know, what you don't know, what you like, and what you don't like. A lot of us who grew up in Christianity were told about Jesus. But what a lot of us are not told is how many people he sat under. He sat under different religions. He sat under different teachers. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that because in their view, it cancels out the work that he did, because how is it that he knows all and is all, but he's sitting up under people? But that's how we learn. Regardless of how much we know, we learn through others. So having a leader, having an entity that is just as smart and all-knowing as Jesus, that he felt it necessary to sit under other people that were here before he was, why don't we do the same? To really allow yourself to unpack those things and be okay with what you're learning, because some of those things are going to throw you for a loop, especially if you've been in this religion your whole life, like how I was. But be prepared for that and allow yourself that feeling of like, I don't like this. That's okay. That's okay, and it's necessary for what you are trying to accomplish. The next step I would say is figure out how you want to walk this thing out and get with people who know about this work and have been here longer than you have. It's very tempting to go about this alone because you don't want to be tainted by anybody else's opinion or anybody else's dogma or feelings or any of those things. But it's very important for us to get around people, just like in the religion that you may either be leaving or the religion that you may be expanding in, where 2 or 3 are gathered, there they may also be. So don't allow yourself to feel like you have to go this alone. Yes, be very intentional and very cognizant of who you are listening to, because everybody does not have your best interest at heart. Everybody does not know what they're doing, and they're just spewing stuff. That's how cults happen. And somebody just up and decides that I'm the leader of this, and everybody just goes spooky. And so try not to go this alone, but instead get around like-minded people and not be too afraid to share, like, hey, I'm at a crossroads right now. And those people, the ones that are right for you, know exactly what their crossroads feel like. If you're not already journaling, definitely journal. It's so important to keep a log of how you're feeling, what you're learning, so you can go back to it. So 2 years from now, you can look back and go, okay, that's how this fed into this, and that's how I got to where I am now. And my last tip is to be easy on yourself. It is very, very, whatever a word for this is, just add that there. To attempt to change your identity, to move from spiritual practice to spiritual practice. It's earth-shattering, because what you believed for a long time, you may not believe anymore. And that is beautiful. It's necessary. So definitely be easy on yourself in this time, because it's hard. Be easy, give yourself grace, allow yourself to flow how you need to flow through it. And most importantly, whatever you feel led to do, do it. Wherever you feel led to go, go. Do not stifle yourself. Do not stop yourself and tell yourself that you can't go because that's not what you believe in. You are unpacking so many things right now. Of course, some things are going to feel weird. Let it feel weird. It's necessary. If you like this video and you enjoyed what I shared here, please give me a thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know what your spiritual journey has been like, where you came from, where you may be currently, what you're trying to accomplish, and definitely subscribe, and let me know how I can best assist you in this time. All right. Thanks, guys.